My parents left my younger brother a mansion worth $800,000 in New York. They left me a rotting wooden cabin in the middle of Alaska. On the day I found out, my fiancé slammed the door in my face, shouting that I was a pathetic loser who would never amount to anything. I was broken, humiliated, and desperate. But when I finally flew to Alaska and opened that cabin door, I found something worth $50 million. That's how my life turned upside down in an instant. Welcome to Revenge Zone. I'm Ethan Hale, 29 years old, the oldest son in a family that never saw me as good enough. My younger brother, Caleb, was the golden child. People in my family used to say he could charm anyone. My father, Arthur, believed Caleb had the ambition to carry the Hale name forward. My mother, Marianne, was softer, more gentle, but she never challenged my father's decisions. Caleb was their pride. I was their afterthought. Rachel Moore, the woman I thought I was going to marry, didn't hide how she saw me either. We had been engaged for a year, and I believed we were building a life together. The truth is, she was only waiting for me to catch up to my brother's success. When she learned about the will, she didn't just leave. She spat venom into my chest that I'll never forget. And that's where my story begins. The moment I lost everything I thought I had, and the moment I was forced to step into something I never expected. Imagine this. You're sitting in a lawyer's office, heart pounding, hoping for one sign that your parents loved you. Then the will is read. Caleb gets the $800,000 mansion plus most of the money. You get a forgotten shack in the Alaskan wilderness. How would that feel? Walking into that office, I held on to a sliver of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they had left something meaningful for me. Maybe my mother had fought for me in the end. Caleb strolled in like it was a business meeting, shaking hands with the attorney and laughing as though it was already decided in his favor. When the will was read, it felt like a hammer smashing against my chest. Caleb received a mansion in New York valued at over $800,000 along with a majority of their financial assets. I received the deed to a remote cabin in Alaska. That was it. No explanation, no balance, just Caleb with a mansion and me with a forgotten shack in the wilderness. I sat frozen in the chair, my fingers gripping the armrests, my face burning with humiliation. Caleb smirked. "Guess Dad always believed in me," he said, patting me on the shoulder like I was a child who needed comfort. When Rachel heard about it later that night, she lost control. She shouted so loudly the neighbors could hear through the walls. "A cabin? Are you kidding me? Caleb gets a mansion and you get a shack in the woods? Do you even hear yourself when you talk about your life? You are a pathetic loser, Ethan. You always have been." She threw the engagement ring on the table. "I am not wasting my life on someone who will never amount to anything." Then she stormed out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the frame. I sat there in silence, staring at the ring. Every insult from my childhood came back at once. My father's dismissive tone, Caleb's smug pride, Rachel's cruel words. It was all a chorus telling me I was worthless. But here's the question that kept burning in my mind. What if the broken cabin wasn't punishment? What if it was the real prize? For days, I carried the deed to that cabin in my pocket. I pulled it out over and over, staring at it like it was a cruel joke. What was I supposed to do with it? Sell it for scraps? Burn it down? But one night, as the city traffic roared outside my window and my apartment felt like a prison, I made the decision. If this was all I was worth to them, I needed to see it with my own eyes. I bought a one-way ticket to Alaska. The plane to Alaska was small and rattled, as if every gust of wind might pull it apart. When the plane landed, the air outside hit me like a fist. It was colder than anything I'd ever felt in New York. Hours later, after walking a mile through deep snow, I finally saw the cabin. It looked worse than I had imagined. The porch was sagging. One of the windows was broken, and the wood on the outside was blackened and cracked from years of rot. The roof looked like it could cave in at any moment. I laughed once, bitter and short, because this was exactly the kind of inheritance you leave to someone you didn't care about. I pushed the door open. The hinges screamed. Inside, the air was thick with dust. Broken furniture, mold, mouse droppings, the smell of decay. I sat down on a chair and buried my face in my hands. "This is what they thought of me," I said aloud. "This is all I'm worth." That night, I lay in my sleeping bag in the dark, listening to the wind howl. I thought I had hit rock bottom. But rock bottom was about to become the foundation of everything. The next day, anger drove me. I started clearing out the cabin, ripping up rotten wood, sweeping decades of filth. Every piece of trash I threw out felt like throwing away years of being told I was nothing. Then, as I pulled a dusty rug away from the floor, I noticed a small iron ring embedded in a wooden panel. I pulled. The panel lifted with a groan. Beneath it, a hidden cellar. My heart started racing. I grabbed my flashlight, climbed down the creaky steps, and what I saw changed my life forever. Wooden crates stacked along stone walls. Metal chests. A large trunk in the corner. I pried open the first crate. Inside, rows of cloth bundles. I unwrapped one. Gold coins, heavy, gleaming, even through decades of dust. Another bundle, antique jewelry, diamonds, rubies, emeralds. Crate after crate, millions in gold, silver, jewels. Then I opened the trunk. Leather-bound ledgers detailing mining claims, land rights, oil and mineral deposits still active today. All worth tens of millions more. $50 million hidden beneath a cabin everyone thought was worthless. But the real shock came when I found a letter addressed to me, in my mother's handwriting. "Ethan, if you are reading this, it means your father and I are gone. What we have left for you is not a mistake or a punishment. It is trust. Your father always saw Caleb as bold, but he also saw recklessness in him. With you, he saw strength that does not show itself in loud victories, but in patience, resilience, and heart. We knew you would protect this legacy, not squander it. Please forgive us for the way it may have seemed. We love you. Your mother." I sat there in the cold cellar, tears running down my face. They didn't abandon me. They trusted me. They chose me. Caleb got the mansion to keep him distracted. I got the real fortune because they knew I wouldn't waste it. When Caleb called laughing about my little shack, I just smiled. When Rachel suddenly texted, "I miss you," I overreacted. I deleted it without replying. They'll never know. This is Revenge Zone, where the quiet ones always win in the end. Sometimes what looks like rejection is actually trust in disguise. Sometimes the broken, forgotten places in your life are hiding the greatest treasures. My parents didn't leave me behind. They made me the real heir. So tell me in the comments, if you opened a broken cabin and found $50 million hidden beneath the floor, would you sell it and flaunt it? Or would you protect it, stay silent, and let everyone keep underestimating you? Drop your answer below, smash that like button if the story hit you hard, and subscribe to Revenge Zone for more real-life revenge and comeback stories that prove the underdog always rises. You never know what's waiting under your own cabin.